How's it going, YouTube? We're going to be doing some homebrew reviews tonight. These are going to be ESBs sent to me courtesy of spears104, subscriber of mine, homebrewer, YouTuber. Big thanks to him. So as I said, we're doing ESBs, ESB 1 and 2, and they both sit at 6.1% alcohol by volume. This is a recipe he's been doing for quite a while, and he's changed it up quite a bit. I guess he's been brewing it for the last 2 years or so now, and he's changed it up. ESB 1 is what we're going to be doing first. It has 2-row crystal, chocolate malt, Goldings and Willamette hops, and it's also dry hop with Goldings, Kent Goldings. So, and he says they started out as a clone of Propeller ESB, but he says he's pretty sure they've changed quite a bit from that. Ooh, she's pretty active here, so we'll go right into it. Pour this shit. Alright. Anyway, as I said, he says he's changed it up quite a bit, so although it started like a lot of his home brews, he starts as a base clone of a local popular beer, and he changes it up quite a bit, and so far the results have been really, really good as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, it definitely looks the same color as Propellers. It's got that dark amber, nearly mahogany kind of appearance to it. The head's a lot more frothy. I don't know quite why that happened. Quite a bit of carbonation in this one. Hopefully it didn't go bad. A lot more head than the Propeller one, that's for sure. So we'll go right to the aroma here. You know, it smells a lot like the Propeller ESB, but it's got more of a hops bite to it. Well, not so much a bite, but with that dry hopping, no doubt it brings out a lot more actual hop aroma and hop flavor as opposed to just bitterness. You can definitely get the I can definitely detect both hops in there. The Goldings and the Willamette are both pretty distinct. Get that really slightly fruity, and then it's got an English real earthy tone to it. Not quite red apple or copper coin, but it's very close. I think the big difference with this one is the malt actually seems to take a little bit of a back seat to the hops in this. Like the malt for the Propeller one is much more up front. You get those caramelly, sort of toffee kind of malts. And this one, they're very much more in the background, for the aroma at least. So we're going to go right to the taste now and see what we think. Oh, that's really nice. Oh, very big on the dry, earthy hops. They really, really come out a lot more than the Propeller ESB. So I think my initial thoughts from the aroma were correct. The malt really does take a back seat. You get the slight fruitiness, sweetness from the malts, but you get a lot of that nice drawing on your mouth. The earthy British hops. Tastes very much Propeller's ESB tastes like less of a British session bitter than this one does. And of course ESBs aren't really session. Look at that coming out of there. Losing my train of thought here. Still going, still active. That's nuts. Propeller's ESB is a little less, I don't know, extreme, I guess is the way to put it. Like an ESB, actually in England, is considered you know, a stronger ale, something that's not quite as sessionable. Propeller's ESB is very sessionable, very, very sessionable. It's lighter on the hops, more on the malt. This one here is still quite sessionable, but the hop profile, excuse me, is much more in line with like Fuller's ESB or some of those stronger, you know, stronger in alcohol bitters that you can get out of England, you know. So this is really good, and it is different from Propellers, and it's different in a good way. This one, I think, definitely fits the style actually a bit better than Propellers. I still consider Propellers an ESB, but this one here, this is just a little bit closer to the actual style guidelines, I think. Could probably use a bit more fruitiness out of the malt. When you take like Fuller's ESB, there's definitely some distinct like dark fruit kind of taste. And that's a little lacking in this one, but I'm not faulting it for that. I like this, really, really like this. Man, that's really good. Thumbs up, man. That's excellent again. I'm sounding like a friggin' broken record here for every beer I've done so far of yours. But this is really good stuff. I can't wait to get into the second ESB here a little later tonight. And so until that time, I'm going to turn off the camera and I'm just going to say thumbs up. This is an excellent homebrew. Very, very well done. Alright, previously we did spears104's ESB1. This is ESB2. This homebrew sent to me, as I said before, by spears104. YouTube user, subscriber of mine, home brewer. Quite excellent home brewer in my opinion. Again, this is an ESB variation, originally based on Propeller's ESB, but he's modified it quite a bit. This one differs from the first one. The first one had 2-row crystal and chocolate malts, Kent Goldings and Willamette hops. And it was also dry hopped with Goldings hops. This one around, he's replaced some of the crystal malt with biscuit malt. So we're going to see if there's any substantial difference. Again, this is 6.1% alcohol by volume like the other one. Alright, this one isn't foaming up a lot like the other one did. Still got it, whoa. Okay, I take it back. That is pretty much the same color as the first one, spot on. Looks just like Propeller's, except for the big head, of course. Propeller's head is usually about finger, 2 fingers, depending on how you pour it. Alright. Alright, so unlike the first ESB, this one does not come up with a big hops aroma. I'm thinking this maybe was not dry hops. The hops here are not as overly present. There's a little bit of it. There's much more about the malt. Still, the smell's quite faint. You're not getting a lot of anything really. That might have something to do with the head here. Swirl it around a bit. No, it's definitely getting a biscuity sort of malt, a little bit of caramel malt kind of smell. That's usually sweetness from the crystal malts coming through. But yeah, there is a dry, kind of biscuity overall impression coming from it. The hops are very much in the background in this one, for the aroma at least. So we're going to go right to the taste now, see what we think. Yeah, the hops are dialed back a bit. Like, it's got the same level of bitterness the previous one had, but, and correct me if I'm wrong here, dude, just leave a comment under the video. You didn't dry hop this one, did you? Because it just seems like the hop aroma and the hop flavors are not as pronounced as they were in the first one. If I'm incorrect, just let me know. But that's the impression I get from this. It's much more dry and malty. That biscuit malt does make a bit of a difference. The malt in this one is much more up front. This one doesn't taste as much like the Propeller one. The first one reminded me of the Propeller one quite a bit, but it also reminded me a lot of Fuller's ESB. This one here reminds me of more of a standard British bitter. It's much more balanced. There's no, like, there's a lot more malt character here, but it's not dominating the hops, and the hops are not dominating the malts. Just got a nice, subtle, dry, biscuity, slightly sweet caramel malt up front. Immediately flattens out to this dry, slight mild bitterness. Nice mouthfeel to it. It's really good. It's really good. It's really interesting to see where just how varied a beer can get just by a few subtle changes. These were both originally based as clones of Propeller's ESB, and here's two beers cloned from that have just, you know, seemingly just slight subtle changes, but they make a big difference in the flavor, which is one of the coolest things about homebrews and guys who experiment in their homebrewing, like Brew by me, spears104. It's really good. Again, like I said in the previous video, I'm sounding like a broken record here. Everything spears104 has sent me has been really, really good. Highly enjoyable. And everything he sent me so far would be stuff I would buy commercially. I wish you good luck in your future endeavors as far as trying to submit beers to the Garrison contest. I really think you keep working at it, you're going to eventually win one of those homebrewer contests, because you're making really, really good stuff, and it's obvious you're pretty enthusiastic, and you're also experimental and adventurous, and you obviously have a keen interest in it. So all good qualities for success, really, in homebrewing. Man, I love it. Another big thumbs up, man. Really good stuff. I'm telling you guys out there, I'm going to be linking down the spears104's channel, whether he likes it or not. I'm not promising you're going to get a homebrew from him, or you're going to make some sort of beer trade with him or whatever, but I would try to bully this man into sending you beer, because he makes really, really good beer. And if you're doing homebrew reviews, his homebrews would be really good ones to add to your reviews. Very, very enjoyable. Very, very nice. And especially if you're familiar with maritime beers, Garrison Propeller beers, it's really, in your beer reviewer, it's really, really cool to see homebrewers take on those beers and how he changes them up and stuff like that. Like that's part of the thing I find really interesting about this. Is like, he's taking these beers that I really, really love, that I've been drinking for years, and he's made homebrewed versions of them, and he's tweaked them, and he's made really, really nice tweaks. Like, they've been very, very good. So cheers to you, Duke, and cheers to all my viewers, and we will see you again soon.